Hi, Ali. My name is James Reimer. I work at the University of the Ryukyus in Okinawa, Japan. So I think originally I went to Palau in 2012 or 2013. This was part of a JICA, the Japan International Cooperative Agency, overseas agency. And that was the original reason we went to Palau. Why did we choose Palau International Coral Reef Center, PCoRIE? Well, it was actually really easy. Our leader at the time, Professor Makoto Tsuchiya, knew Yimna Ngolbu, Dr. Yimna Ngolbu, Yim, CEO of PCoRIE very well. And so it was very logical to choose PCoRIE as our counterpart for this project in Palau. And we had a 5-year project working on all sorts of aspects of coral reef and economic science. Our group in particular, we were working on biodiversity in Palau. We looked a lot at population genetics, and we also looked at various understudied species and groups of animals in Palau. We had a lot of work with the local community, a lot actually. We were able to run classes at PCC, Coral Reef Science classes. We had PCC students come into PCoRIE and intern and work with us on our science. And we also had 2 PCoRIE members come to our university in Okinawa to obtain their master's degrees. So overall, I'd say we were really involved with the local community in Palau. And even though I haven't been back there except for a brief trip last year, and now with Corona, it's difficult, but I have a lot of friends in Palau and at PCoRIE, and I hope I can get back there soon. So this is a question or an answer to a question I could probably talk for 20 to 30 minutes about. Number one, I think for me, in retrospect, was getting to meet and work with all the great people at PCoRIE. It was a really great team of people there, and I feel really honored to have met and interacted with a lot of different people there. And I hope, in the future there's still collaborations. I'm still in contact with some members of PCoRIE, and now and then discuss a little bit of science with them. My hope is in terms of benefit to Palau. I'll talk a little bit more about that after, but we were able to show, for example, that Nico Bay has some very unique and different biodiversity. And also, I hope that PCoRIE and Palau has a little bit more of an appreciation for some of the small or understudied coral reef taxa. I know personally that our research team at the University of the Ryukyus really has a great impression for how a healthy and well-protected coral reef ecosystem should look like. And I think that's something that until I'd been to Palau, I don't know if I'd ever really fully experienced. And it's really important for me whenever I do any sort of coral reef science. To me, Palau is a really unique place where people understand the importance of coral reefs and of coral reef science. And to see such a small country really proactively and be a world leader in this sort of field and to protect their bioresources is really inspiring. And sometimes I know at my work there's a lot of politics or paperwork, and I can think back to times in Palau where we were able to produce some science that actually immediately or very quickly helped the local community, and that's a source of personal inspiration for me, especially at those times. So to me, Palau holds a really special place in my heart, Palau and PCoRIE, and it's been a great experience. So the answer is yes, obviously, in many ways. As I said before, we had PCC interns work with our team on biodiversity surveys in the field and at PCoRIE. We were able to teach classes at PCC on coral reef science and marine science. We had 2 PCoRIE researchers come to our university to obtain their master's degrees. And I know that even now, JICA and our university, I think they're very proud of the capacity building that we were able to do in Palau. And for me, myself, knowing how Palau is not a large community, I like to think that even a little bit we've contributed to helping keep the coral reef science going in Palau. So it says is, this means singular, and I'm not going to say one thing, I'm going to say three things, because there's three things that pop into my mind when I think about the highlights of our time in Palau. The first thing, personally, was being able to supervise Victor Nestor and watch him graduate with his master's degree. He put in a lot of long hours and worked really hard on his master's, and to see him progress in his studies and graduate with that degree was something for me personally that I was very happy to be a part of. And that's one of the highlights for me, I think. The other two highlights are, I guess, more scientific. One of the highlights, I guess, would say the second highlight would be we were working on the population genetics of snail worms, Sericignum maximum, which is also, I believe, EOL, E-O-L. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing this correctly. And we're able to show with our genetic analyses that the population in Nico Bay is really different and unique from all the other populations. And so for me, this really sort of highlighted how different Nico Bay is. This is something I think that almost everyone in Palau knows, but for us to put some biological evidence into something that everyone there already knew, for me, it was really cool. I was really happy with that. And finally, I guess the third thing would be we discovered some new species during our time in Palau. And one of the species we discovered, which we named after your president, really beautiful species of colonial anemone from Sias Tunnel. And being able to name that after a well-known Palauan person because of his conservation policies for coral reefs, I think it was a really nice moment. And it's something, I mean, a species name, hopefully lasts forever in history. So this is something I think that we were able to have a nice moment with during our project on biodiversity. So personally, I'm a biodiversity person, and obviously I like looking at weird and small groups of animals. So I really hope there's a bit more biodiversity infrastructure being developed into the future in Palau, whether it's a marine collection, whether that's at Palau National Museum or somewhere else, and perhaps an ongoing or online or interactive species list of some kind. That would be really great. Species and biodiversity really underpin the importance of coral reefs and bioresources. In other words, we all need to know what's living on the reefs, from sharks all the way down to microbes. And I would be really happy to be part of any initiative or any project in any way. In 20 years, I think I will only be 68 years old. So I think for the next 20 years, I'd like to wish Pickrick and Palau good luck. And thank you very much. ありがとうございました。